I'm delighted to welcome back today Trina Kavanagh-Thomas, who is a spiritual health coach. Welcome back, Trina.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's really nice to be back. I think the last time we saw each other, Christmas, a couple of years ago, maybe.
Well, I've been in Portugal for 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
So it's probably Christmas 2019.
Oh my gosh. And
So
so much has changed since then as well.
so much has changed, so much has happened. Not all for the good, but mostly for those who want to see it. It's beautiful. So let's see where we're going to go with this conversation, because we never know. So, spiritual health coach. Let's start there. What is a spiritual health coach?
So a spiritual health coach is someone who helps people take back power in their health, life, and business. So I look at all aspects of life through health, and I do that through mixing Reiki with channeling. So I channel for people.
Oh, you can't just say that. You know what the next question is going to be. For the listeners, what is channeling?
So channeling basically is letting go of my own energy when I'm with someone, not thinking about anything else that's going on in my life, and tuning into someone else's energy. So tuning into what they're going through and their life. And I personally believe we can all do it, and it just takes some practice. It takes a lot of practice. We know already in science that animals can do it. Animals are deeply connected to plants and trees and to the outer environment, but we don't realize that actually as humans can do the same. We're just tapping into a collective energy.
When you say about animals, you've only got to sit and look around, sit in the garden or take a walk in the park or forest or whatever, and you can actually physically see that, can't you, how animals behave. They know when something is happening. They know when the weather's changing.
Yeah, you could feel into people's energy in different ways. And a really simple way, just for the viewers and the listeners, is when you go to work or you go to a business meeting, and you can sense other people's energy. If someone's having a really off day, you know it. And sometimes you could pick that up and you could take it away with you into your everyday life. So you go in, maybe you wake up all smiley one morning, everything's so amazing. You go to work, someone's, I don't know, slagging someone off in the office or something. And all of a sudden you're just feeling absolute pile of, can I swear on here? So
Yes.
yeah, pile of shit. And you go away and you're like, oh, I feel absolutely awful now. I don't really know why I feel awful. Yeah, because you've just been listening to, excuse anyone whose name is Karen. You're listening to Karen in the office, right, who's just been slagging off whoever, and you've taken it on with you. And we pick up on other people's energy. And that's what I do. So I go in, I pick up on someone else's energy, and I fathom out what's going on, and I identify their needs and ask them specific questions to do with that, so they come to their own answers. I know what their answers are, but I want them to come to their own answers. And I might actually share a perspective. So I might teach in that element as well and share a perspective, so it opens up someone's awareness even more to get to the memory that they need to get to.
Very interesting and very well explained. Because a lot of people think Reiki is a bit woo-woo and a bit peculiar, and channel is even more out there. So you've kind of you've given a new perspective. You've given a perspective of something that is actually reachable and attainable for everybody.
Yeah, and I'm glad, because the reason why I want to talk about this a lot more is because children do it really well. Children do it really well. And what happens during a child's life, and even during our own lives, it's almost like, oh, don't talk about that. Oh, that's a bit silly. Oh, that doesn't bode well. And what's happening right now, right at this moment, not just to children but to adults, many people are feeling quite suicidal at the worst case scenario, but not knowing who they are, because they're not allowed to be who they are. They're not allowed to actually just tap into their own human uniqueness.
When you say not allowed, who's not allowing?
It would be not allowing themselves. because they don't want to be seen as an outcast in any way. And it's and I've gone through, and I'm sure you have as well, and many people have gone through different scenarios in their life where they've given up something, given up aspects of themselves, realizing that they are going to lose communities. They're going to lose possibly family, possibly friends. Especially in the last couple of years, you've seen it quite a lot. If you have a difference of opinion to what's been spoken about in the news, or with governments and stuff, you are going to feel like an outcast. And the way not to feel like an outcast is to fit in and blend in and follow.
Hence the reference to sheep.
Yeah.
People follow like sheep, don't they? Because you see a sheep in the field. And friends of mine have a training business, and they use the sheep herd to train. And they say that you only need to cajole one or X number. I don't know if it's one in the case of sheep, but just as an illustration, you get one on board, and then that one persuades the next one, and before you know where you are, everybody's going in the same direction. Cows do it, like we said earlier on about animals, herds, horses, all the big animals, they all do the same, elephants and so on. And we're no different, are we? Humans are, we're herd, we're pack people as well. We need to be in communities.
Yeah. And what happens is when you go through those times of, and I spoke about this yesterday in another podcast, I spoke about, like if you give up alcohol, for instance, and I'm sure I've heard it somewhere about tribes. If you give up alcohol in a tribe, then you're more likely to be like literally banned from being in a tribe of some kind, possibly even killed as well, if you don't have the same level of belief of someone else. So because obviously we're made up of lots and lots of cells, we also have cell memory. So if we've got cell memory, we're going to imagine all sorts of things are going to happen to us as soon as we want to let go or move on or move away from that one thing. If it's alcohol, if it's drug taking, if it's moving on from a marriage, if it's moving on from changing your health in any way, if it's moving on from just different things. I'm trying to think of, but there are so many of them. And the things that can come up for many people, and I really want to share this because I know it has come up for me, is that you can feel suicidal, and you have to recognize those suicidal tendencies as well, because you are learning to be lonely for a little while, because not everyone may be on board with what you say. And then you're having to let in new people, let in people who understand, who actually, get it, because you're learning to be misunderstood. A lot of people are going to look at you and they're going to go, what the fuck is she on about? But the more you lean into who you are, you're going to realize that some of the people that you've been brought up with are not your people.
Yeah, that's an awakening, isn't it, for a lot of people? Back in the, where are we, in the 90s, so I'm going back now, I don't know, 25 years ago plus. I had the privilege of being trained by the big man Bob Proctor, and he illustrated, and in fact he died recently, he was in early 90s, and I looked up, and his PowerPoint presentations are the same now as they were then, and I had copies. I don't know where they've gone to, but there's one particular I remembered. He would draw using a whiteboard in those days, or no, actually flip chart. So shows how long ago it was. So he was drawing lines of kind of levels. So you imagine the lines are radio frequencies, and you're trying to tune in to the different radio frequencies. So you have he drew a stick person, bottom left hand side, and then he put something like a star or something on the top right hand, and that was the goal. So the different persons here got all these lines to go through to get to the goal. So the aim, the point of it was about goal setting. So you need to have your sights set on the goal, but then you've got all these levels to go through to get to that goal. You know, the roads and twists and turns and everything. Alongside that, you've got other people who are on different levels. And what happens a lot of the time with people, because they're going away from the tribe see this person going up through the levels, up the staircase, and then they'll say, well, who do you think you are? What do you think, you know, what makes you think that you've got, you know, how are you going to get there? Don't be ridiculous. And you have all this talk, and then you have your own self-talk.
Yeah.
And before you know where you are, you're not even where you started, you're below where you started. So that's kind of my perspective on what you're saying.
But that analogy is so true. You know, that is so true, because you're going up, and then all of a sudden you'll get people go, you know, that looks like a lot, or that looks like this, or that looks like, and then you go, oh my God, maybe it is, maybe I am doing too much, maybe I'm like being too much for everyone, I'm doing too many things all at once. But that's when the confusion sets in. So you step back down rather than going, okay, I can see that I'm confused right now. What do I need? I need to pause for a second. I need to take some time out away from all this noise, whether it's social media, whether it's the news or whatever. You need to take some time out away from all this noise and go, what is it that I want right now? How do I make it easier for me? Because you're going to have to like clear your mind out some way. You're going to have to recognize the thought process in some way, the patterns of those thoughts of, can't do this, you're not very good at that. And you are going to have to give yourself some love and some compassion. And then you're going to have to move on. You're going to have to like move on. And it might be that you're going to have to clear your energy in some way. You're going to have to like go, okay, well, that's other people's stuff. And actually, I wasn't entirely born with those words, but I know that the body holds on to quite a lot. The body holds on to it like it believes it. So it's almost like for some people, you have to turn in to face it, to go, okay, I recognize what you're saying. And I recognize it, because sometimes you have to turn in to face the belief and go along with it, so you can go, okay, now I can come out of the belief because it's not me, because I'm moving forward. And that can be a hard process for a lot of people to do. It can be a very hard process. And I know firsthand it's a hard process, because you are coming up against almost like, if I go from my own perspective, it felt like a fight. You know, a fight. When I came off alcohol, it was almost like, am I doing the right thing? You know, maybe I'm not drinking too much. Maybe like 2 bottles a night. You know, I can actually cut it down. Actually, I couldn't cut it down, but maybe I could cut it down. Maybe I could just only drink small amounts. Maybe I could just drink in moderation. Maybe. So you start questioning yourself. So you do have to take yourself away for however long you need to, and then come back. And I do say have some practices during that time. That's why I do spiritual health coaching, is so people have some tools as well in that time, or even connect with their own tools again. Because sometimes a lot of people come to me and they're not fully connecting with their tools, not fully connecting with their guides in some way. So a lot of people who come to me are either spiritually curious, or they're already spiritually conscious, but they're just not listening fully to their body. So they still are doing maybe some embodiment practices, but they're not fully listening, and almost like gaslighting themselves in a way. We are capable of gaslighting ourselves. And I know that sounds like a harsh word to some people, like the word gaslighting, but we are, if someone's able to fully gaslight us, we're more than capable of gaslighting ourselves too.
Give us some examples of what you mean by gaslighting.
Okay, so if I go to a period of time where, definitely with alcohol, You could talk yourself back into drinking alcohol. Oh, it's okay. Oh, just one more. Yeah, I'm not really drinking a lot. You know, it's all right to go out. You go out drinking with people, but you know full well that you're going to start drinking again because you think, oh no, it's okay. But you actually end up in the same position again. And it's the same with, you know, when I stopped eating gluten as well, I gave up wheat as well. And it was like, I'm having stomach issues this time. And I'm actually doing my body harm. So I'm doing my body more harm than good. So I'm going to myself, yeah, you know, maybe it's just like a one-off or something. Maybe it's like, maybe it won't ever happen again. Maybe, and it's the same words again. So you're having to go, okay, well, I'm gonna have to parent myself. I'm gonna have to like actually turn around and go, okay, Trina, you know, like when you do this, how is that making you feel? You're feeling tired, your gut is bloated. Is that okay? Would you allow someone to treat you like that? Is that all right for you? And it's like, well, if it's not okay for someone to do that to me, then is it okay for me to do that to me? But you have to look objectively at it. For me personally, health has to be looked at objectively. It's quite an emotive subject at this moment in time, especially when we've got body positive movements. Right, it's a very emotive subject. That's why I've moved away from body positivity. I'm not part of Black Lives Matter or any of those movements or anything like that, because I can identify there's a lot of shame, there's a lot of guilt. And if you try and leave the tribe or do something different to better your health, there are a few people in there that will pull you back, like what we mentioned in the beginning. So if you try and leave the tribe, you get pulled back. It's not in the benefit of you. And I remember I went on a podcast. It didn't get released, but I remember going on a podcast for intuitive eating. And I want to speak about it. I feel like it is the right time to speak about this right now, because I was going on there to talk about how I listen to my body. I listen to my body, I listen to its needs. And because I mentioned that I was gluten-free and that I don't eat a lot of sugar or anything, it was kind of like, oh, well, you're gluten-free. And this is, I'm not sure if I actually want this on here. And it actually triggered the interviewer who talks about intuitive eating.
Oh, interesting.
So you have to understand that when you're in a movement, say it's body positivity, for instance, you have to understand if you are gaslighting yourself to stay in there, and if other people actually have your best interests at heart for you to move on and for you to look after your body if you're in abject pain and agony, because it's not normal to be in pain and agony. It's not normal to, and you probably get this as well, to have bloatedness. Bloating is not normal. And it's the same with, I also feel it's the same with, I'm trying to think what it's called now, incontinence. You know, we have like a big massive industry that talks about incontinence. Incontinence is literally on the rise, when about 84% of it actually can be healed physically, mentally, emotionally. So a lot of it can be healed. But yeah, if you go to some of the sites, some of the big company sites, and you look at all the information, and yeah, they do have physios on there who teach you like some exercises. Actually, they're only basic, and they're not giving you the information that you could really do with. And I feel like those industries are doing a massive disservice. There's lots of areas where there's a massive disservice in health. And that's why I want to talk about this and speak about it, because, you know, I've lived it, I've seen it, and it has to change.
But it can only change if people wake up, realise that they're being conned and take responsibility. So it's follow the money, isn't it? You mentioned big companies with the websites and they only tell half the story. So people who are gullible, they don't know any different. They don't know they're being lied to. They look at these things and go, oh, you know, like chemotherapy and radiation in cancer, which I come up against all the time. People think it's healing them. It's not. It's a sticking plaster, and it has a sell-by date. And in the case of those dreadful treatments, I mean, well, I get quite cross about it, so I better not get on my horse. But their sell-by date is 5 years, and they say, oh yes, you know, we're remission for 5 years. And then what happens? I get tons of people coming to me now where they've got to their 5 years, or 4 years is coming down now, so 4 years, and they've got something else pop up. It's because they didn't fix the thing in the first place, because they weren't told how to do it. I've got a lady who's having an investigation on Saturday this week, and she said to me on Monday, Elaine, I don't know what to do. I can't eat how you've been teaching me to eat, which is wheat free, gluten free, you know, so on and so forth, with no sugar, etc. And she said, I've got all this stuff to eat. So she was given a 5-page booklet, and it was full of nonsense. And the first thing on the list was white bread. White bread she's got to eat. Well, that's the worst thing in the world.
Wow.
You know, it's unbelievable. So we went through this 5 pages, and we picked out a few things that were okay. And I said, at the end of the day, you're actually better to fast rather than eat that stuff, because it's, you know, it's going to bring you back down to where you were, kind of thing. So it's about people taking responsibility and not being led by the nose. But she was prepared to go along with what she was told, because the hospital have said it, because the people in the white coats, because the nurses have said it. But when you challenge them, they haven't got an answer. Why are you having certain things done? What does this do? What does that do? They don't know. They only just know what they've been told. It's not their fault. That's how they've been trained. But more and more and more are waking up and leaving the healthcare service and going on to our kind of neck of the woods, more natural. So I think the tide is turning. Can we go back to this intuitive eating that you mentioned?
Yeah.
Because that's what I do, actually.
Yeah.
Intuitive eating, intuitive meal prep, everything. I can't tell you. Sometimes I look in my fridge and it looks like there's nothing there, and the next minute I've created a banquet, because you can get creative with all kinds of things, can't you? And I only eat when I'm hungry, and that's it. So how do you do your intuitive eating?
So for me, it's all about love. It's all about love. I always, I suppose there was scientific research on this, is that food is attached to love. And I don't know if anyone's heard of cupboard love. Mm-hmm. So cupboard love is, you will know, Elaine, yeah. But cupboard love is a scientific term for when you've been raised in such a way that your parents feed you out of love. They just feed you all the time. She's crying, we feed her. Mm-hmm. You know, she's cold, we feed her. You know, she's upset, we feed her. You know, we just feed. So we get into this habit of, as we're growing up, that everything is for reward, everything is for love, and we feed for love. And, you know, a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So we feed. That did change over time. And the way I work is like this. I work with how my body feels, and out of love for how my body feels. So there may be times where I might dip into that comfort eating. There may be times where a pattern is so strong, I might go, okay, you know what? I am going to just eat for the sheer hell. I won't go into eating the things that have, so I'll eat like vegan chocolate and things like that, but I'll have the chocolate. I'll have like the cake and stuff, but obviously gluten free. But I'll have those things while I'm satiating myself through an emotion of some kind. If, like, say, I need to fast for any reason, I will fast. if I say, you know, I need to get up and I think, you know what, I really do not need to eat right now, then I won't eat. If say for instance, I'm ill, and I tell you what, I did have COVID, and I knew straight away what I needed on a physiological level, from eating wise all the way down to movement wise as well. A lot of people will think, oh, why would you exercise when you like shivering in bed? I'm like, because let me tell you something, if you're laying in bed and you're in abject pain, right, all your muscles are contracting. And the best way for your muscles not to contract like that is to bring some circulation into them. So even if you're laying in your bedside, you can still lift an arm, stretch it out. You can still just move your body. You can lay in your bed and just lift your leg up and just stretch through it. And it actually feels a lot better, and you'll feel 10 times better than if you were just laying there, just shivering, going, I'm in absolute pain and agony. You would feel better. And also as well, during time of illness, your body may not want to eat. It's a great time to tune into yourself, because I know my body did not want to eat. It needed a few days out of eating just to clear the body. And then I tell you what my body actually wanted. It wanted spices and herbs. So I made myself like a big vat of like hot water with like cloves, which are great for antibiotic, aren't they? Cloves, orange peel, so the oil out the oranges, unwaxed, obviously. What else was in there? Rosemary as well. So there were like just all different things in there that my body was asking for. It's like, I need orange peel, I need cloves, I need just the stuff that I knew that I could put in there. And then just I made a big load of it as well, and then just drank that for a few days until I felt like it was the right time to have something. And a lot of people go, and this is really funny, because a lot of people would see fasting as, oh my God, you're starving yourself. Why would you do that? Why would you starve yourself? Let's just understand there's a difference between, you know, starving yourself and actually allowing your body the time to process. That may be the time to process emotions, or it might be time to process actually toxins that are in there and all built up in there. So yeah, intuitive eating for me is like literally listening to this thing and knowing exactly what it wants, what it's processing, and what it needs. If I can't, if I'm trying to protect myself, I have to recognize, oh my God, I can't protect myself right now from, you know, from this pain or this hurt that's happening in my life. And sometimes what we want to do, we want to eat. So sometimes I might go, okay, well, I'm not going to eat right now because I'm actually full. So I'm not going to eat, Trina. I do talk to myself. I'm not going to eat, Trina. You can't protect yourself right now, Trina. And I know you can't protect yourself, so you're just going to have a big old cry instead. So you're basically learning how to parent yourself. You're learning how to, you know, love on yourself. And it is love. Everything that I do is from a place of love. Even when I'm working with my clients and, you know, working, you know, like on what they're eating and stuff, it's all done from a place of love, rather than detract from, you know, like, oh my God, you need to take this out, let's remove this. No, we're gonna let's start adding some stuff. Let's add this. And then what happens is, in turn, they're going, oh yeah, I'm recognizing actually I'm eating less of that because I'm eating more of this. This makes me feel really great. So I'm getting rid of some of this stuff over here. And I also talk about, you know, replacements for a little while until you're ready to like literally let go of them. So that might be making your own gluten-free bread. It might mean you know, eating like your own like like gluten-free pasta just for now, until you feel you're ready to like kind of move on from it. Same with alcohol as well. I remember like when I came off alcohol, I started drinking like elderflower, like fizzy elderflower in like a champagne glass.
Yeah.
Just so I could have like just so I could like trick my brain for a little while. But now, I look at wine now, and I can like literally, and I've not done any hypnotherapy or anything, but I can taste it, and I'm like, no, no, I, I'm really fortunate. I don't have that kind of attachment to alcohol anymore, which is incredible. I never thought at that time when I started doing that process that I could ever come away from it in the way that I have.
Brilliant. Well done. And when did you do this?
I came off alcohol in 2019, July 2019, and I'd come off alcohol before then, but I was just easily led back to it, and now it's kind of like, oh, okay. And I know the pattern of when, oh, you know what, I really feel like I could have a drink right now. I really feel like I could have that. I recognize that pattern, and I talk about it, and I go, oh, you know what, I feel like I could have a drink, but I know I'm not deep down going to have a drink. But I know you have to talk about it. You have to be able to express how you're feeling without getting like kind of knocked back or in any way. Because what's going to come up when you let go of, like, say, alcohol, or you let go of certain foods and stuff, or you're tapping into spirit energy, for instance, because I wasn't brought up in a I wasn't brought up or raised in a family where everyone was spiritual. Like, someone's, I don't know, great grandma did tarot, or, she spoke to spirits or spirits or anything like that. So I didn't have anything like that. I know that I found out that my granddad read cards. And he wasn't my biological granddad. He was obviously meant to be in my life. And he read cards, but and he heard like the tinnitus sounds in the ears as well. For anyone who's listening, the tinnitus sounds are, for some people, are for when you've got a message coming through. So that was a hard journey to like kind of step into too. That was another thing that was coming up during that time, was to go through giving up alcohol, to go through changing my diet, and then obviously hearing stuff while I'm with my clients and going, ask them this question about this, ask them this question about their grandma, and ask them this question about like what their grandma cooked for them. Did they, their grandma cooked them this, tell them about this dish. I don't know anything about that dish. No. But yeah, ask them about this. So yeah.
So coming off the alcohol was a real blessing, because it then gave you clarity, and so that the channeling can come through effectively for you and for your clients.
Absolutely. And it was tuning into myself as well. I know there's a lot of spiritual coaches out there who still have, maybe have some health issues and stuff out there, and are really great at tuning into their clients, incredible at tuning into their clients, not as incredible at tuning into themselves. And tuning into yourself and listening to your own messages has to come with, okay, I'm going, and I didn't realize, I just thought it was all just to do with health. I felt, oh, I'm coming off alcohol, it's all just to do with health. No, these messages were getting clearer and louder and coming through even more.
Brilliant. So I'm just drinking, it looks like looks like we, but it's it's limonene. You mentioned earlier on about orange peel. So
Mm.
I in a slow cooker, I put orange and lemon and grapefruit
Mm.
peel into water, mineral water, and I leave it there for about 24 hours, cooking on slow. And then when it's cool, I strain it into bottles and I put in the freezer, and then I bring them out one at a time. So I'm drinking that every day. Also, I make my own kombucha. So I make, it's a really good health drink. So I've got those two, and I'm going through the process. Well, I'm not going. I've decided, and it's happening. So I got to the point where I was drinking a bit too much, and I live on my own, and I've got no excuse. I've got nobody leading me on. It's just down to me. So what I do now is I enjoy a drink, but I go outside. So I sit in the garden. No, I don't. No, I go to the cafes here because I'm in Portugal, the Algarve, Portugal, for listeners. So I take myself to the cafe, and sometimes I'll put a picture on Facebook that I'm out with my three amigos, which is water, wine, and black coffee. So there's four of us out for a drink, So I'm going out and being social, and that then gets me into an environment where I might sit and work or make some notes or whatever. But I'm listening to the local language. I'm learning Portuguese. It's very, very strange, difficult language, but it's for me anyway. But it gets me into the environment and gets me out and about. So so I'm doing that. I mean, I don't have to have the wine, but I enjoy it. So and I would never dream of having alcohol in the morning, or definitely it has to be over the yard arm. The sun has to be over the yard arm, as they say. So, but yeah, it's interesting to see how we can replace the things that are harmful to us, because too much of anything, pretty much can be harmful.
Absolutely.
But we can make these substitutes that are healthy. So Trina, you do all this wonderful, wonderful stuff, and it's been a real privilege watching you grow in the last nearly 3 years, to how you are now. And I just love your smile, the biggest smile ever. And you haven't got a wrinkle on your face, not a wrinkle or anything.
And I'm going to be a grandma as well. Which,
oh my word! Oh goodness!
So really, really. I tell you what, you know someone who lives near me, don't you? Your daughter. Your daughter
Well,
used.
I don't know where you live now. My daughter's moved about a year ago, but she did live near you. Whether you've moved or whatever.
No, I haven't moved. Still here.
Okay, she lives near Melton Mowbray.
Does she?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Because yeah, she used to come to my classes a while ago.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Oh, well. We
Yeah.
don't.
So
We have a difficult relationship, unfortunately, and she'll come round one day. I had the same about her age. She's 40 now. I had the same about her age when when my mum was around with my mum. So I know it will come round, but it is what it is. It's all meant to be. She's happy. She's got a wonderful family and doing wonderful things in the world. So I see from afar with great pride. You don't just do the spiritual coaching. You're one of these irritating women that people talk about that can turn your hand to anything. So you also do house sitting. Why do you do that?
So house sitting started off with my own self-care and my own self-love to get myself some space. I do believe everyone needs space, and sometimes we take that space but we're not getting it in the way that could actually really expand us and benefit us in some way. And when I say benefit and expand us, I mean like no one's around. You're left to your own thoughts, your own devices. You don't do nothing sometimes. You just sit with your own stuff and allow yourself to like go, okay, well, this is how I want my life. This is not how I want my life. So this is how I want my life. And you can actually decipher stuff. And house sitting came about because a lovely friend of mine, Caroline Morris, who does yoga this way in Nottingham, she came round one day when I was really, really struggling. And I was thinking, I need a break. I just need to get away by myself. And she went, come and stay at my house. Come and stay at my house. I'm going away. Come and stay at my house. And then it was just born like that, looking after her house, staying in her house for my own level of self-care. And off the back of that, she got a cat in the end, and I started looking after other people's houses and other people's, pets, and using it as my own way of like getting away, my own level of self-care, but also equally looking after someone's house, someone's pets. And then obviously I charge for it now as well. So yeah, and I love it because it means that I can just be out of the way for a little while. And sometimes I'll do it with my kids. So my kids are like get involved as well. So it means I can spend time with each child on their own. So I can get to know them in different ways. Or, I've done it as a holiday before, like with the kids. But it's not a holiday really, because it's like work as well. You're having to get up at a set time for someone else's loved one. So you're getting up at set times, you're sticking to someone else's routine. But when I do it on my own, I reconnect with me. And if I do it with one of the kids, I reconnect with one of the kids. So yeah, it's got like some really great plus points to it.
It's a great idea for anybody listening out there, because we so need our space, and that's what I cherish here. I live on my own, and I'm really protective of my space. I love visitors, I encourage visitors, but I'm also glad when they go.
Yeah.
Because I like my space, I like my own company. But sadly, a lot of people don't like that. They don't like their own company, which is sad, and obviously a sign that they're not comfortable in their own skin. So that is sad, but I think it's a great idea and a great concept, and it's on the increase, isn't it? The house sitting thing.
Yes.
What do your family think about it? What does the rest of the family at home think about you toddling off?
Well, they've got no choice. The thing is, otherwise mummy's not sane. So and I see it as encouraging them that when they get older, that they have their own level of self-care as well.
Yes,
they're able to go away and take space, that if things get too much for them, that they can go away, go, okay, I'm going to shut myself away for a few days, and I'm going to just have some time to myself outside, going swimming, doing the things that I want to do rather than the things that everyone else wants to do. I mean, people will know this, even if you've got kids, even if you've just got family, even if you've just got, just something that you have to do, always do something for, you will know that you need that break. You will know that you need that space. And sometimes, and you know what, it actually fits really well with what I was talking about as well. When you come away from drinking alcohol, if you come away from like your diet, or movements and people and society and society's beliefs and values, because sometimes society's beliefs and values are not your values, and you have the power. The thing is, right, even though in society people are maybe seen as sheep, they are so powerful. They are so powerful. And this is what I really want to get across. You have the power, right? You can take back your power. You can literally step outside of all that claptrap. You have the power to step outside of it all. And the way you do that is learning to have that space, have that time by yourself, be okay with being on your own, even if, right, and it's okay to go, oh my god, I'm on my own, I have no friends, I have no one, because that is going to happen, right? That is going to happen. I did that 2 days ago. Someone rang me and I thought it was one of my other friends, and I went, oh my god, I'm so alone, I've got no friends, and because it needed to come out at that point, to then come back to this moment and go, yeah, because I don't fit with them. Right? Yeah. You have to not be embarrassed about being on your own and being lonely for a few minutes, or for God knows however long. you can accept people feeling sorry for you, right, as you move out of your life, and accept I am misunderstood and I am okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, me too. I'm very okay with it.
Yeah.
Right, so I can't believe we've been talking for so long. So Trina Kavanagh-Thomas, how do people get hold of you?
So you can either find me on LinkedIn at Trina Kavanagh-Thomas. You can find me on Facebook, Trina Kavanagh-Thomas. I come up straight away as soon as you start putting in Kavanagh with my big smiley face. You can find me via my website, and I'll give you my links as well. So yeah,
Okay.
TrinaKavanagh.com.
For the audio people who are not going to see the screen, how are you spelling your name?
It's Trina, so Trina, and Kavanagh with a K, like Kavanagh QC, Kavanagh hyphen Thomas, Thomas, just in case.
Yeah, fabulous. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Trina. It's been lovely catching up. Take care.
It's been great. Thank you so much.